everyone. Welcome to Next Level Humanity podcast, Masters Unplugged. I have dear Sujata Din with me. Hello, welcome.
Hello, thank you so much for having me.
Thanks for being here. How have you been?
I've
Good?
been good, enjoying this gorgeous spring-like weather, but it's really enjoying this time of the year.
Yeah, it's very it changes, right? It's just, changes the whole mood. So you have your own company and you're a wellness and nutrition coach.
Yeah.
And I have a lot of friends and also colleagues who are wellness and nutrition coaches I have been working with wellness coaches for over 25 years now.
Yeah.
And usually many health entrepreneurs or people who, dive into nutrition health, they have their own personal transformation story. So I would love to learn your story, like what first led you into the world of nutrition and wellness.
I think that's such a important thing you've said, because it usually starts with us helping ourselves. So for me, I went through a period of being unwell, but it wasn't just for a short time. It was actually beginning when I was quite young, and I always had digestive issues. Was usually constipated many days a week from a child, and I also would have congestion and sinuses. But again, it was never something that we thought was an issue growing up. It was
interesting because I have exact similar experiences: constipation and sinus problem.
Yeah, so as a child, I was always congested, and my mom would put sort of the steaming with the eucalyptus oils, and I would do that. But I was not like getting better, but I would just be managing these symptoms. And as I grew older, I didn't have my periods when normally, young girls are beginning to get periods, so my periods were late to begin. And then came time when I wanted to have my first child, and I was finding it hard to conceive, so I needed to get some fertility treatment. And again, I thought, well, that's just, how it is for me now. And then after my second child was born, I began to have night sweats, which were very, very severe. I couldn't sleep well at night. I would have to wake up in the middle of the night, change the bedding over. Sometimes I would sleep with a towel underneath me.
Yeah, I mean, we had similar experiences. So yeah I know.
So, and it was at a time when I was in my early 30s, and I didn't know what a night sweat is, because now we all know what night sweats are, but 20 years ago we weren't really talking about them. But anyway, many things were happening at that time which made me feel not too good, and I had digestive issues began to worsen. I began to find I had now sinusitis, and I wasn't getting better. And the turning point came for me when in 1 year I had been on antibiotics about 7 or 8 times. I'd been taking steroids at times as well. I have been taking over-the-counter painkillers, and I wasn't getting better. And I realized, actually, I now need to begin to make a change, because I'm going to the doctors, and my doctors were good, and they were telling me what to do, but I wasn't getting better. And I thought, now I need to learn how to get better. So I was going onto the internet, Dr. Google at the time, and searching for what shall I do to get better. And I would, look at buying supplements. I would go and see naturopaths or natural practitioners, and they were helping me. But again, it was giving me a lot of supplements, which wasn't ultimately what I needed.
Yeah, and it's not sustainable.
Yeah. And I thought, I now need to learn what to do to get better. I'd never done biology GCSE, so I decided I need to study. I need to understand anatomy and physiology first, and I need to then begin to learn how to get better. And that is really why I began my health coaching course. Was never to work with it as a business, but it was for me to get better, because at my lowest points, walking for 10 or 15 minutes was exhausting. I just wanted to sleep. I just felt I'm too young to be feeling like this. My children were young as well, and I wanted to spend quality time with them. And there is that point where I sat in a park.
And we're still young.
We're still young. 50s is very young now. But, we can now, at that point, realizing I have a long life I want to live, and I don't want to be limited. So what can I start now? And it began with just education for me. And I realized that education was helping me so much. And when it helped me to feel better, it took some time. It doesn't happen in 1 week or 1 month. It took many months to feel better. But once I began to feel better from where I was, I started with a few friends around my dining table, and they really liked what I was doing, and they were so encouraging that I then began to do this as a business.
Wow.
Yeah, so it began
it happens naturally. Once we value something, I think we like talking about it, we like researching on it, thinking about it, and then it just happens naturally because we start talking about it to our friends. So, the same thing happened with me with wellness and also self-mastery and entrepreneurship, it just, happens naturally when you value it. Was there a moment when you realized helping people, like helping yourself, first of all, of course, but helping people improve their health could become your life's mission and your life's work? Like was there a moment when you were like, yeah, I think this is it. It's like, this is my path.
There was a moment. The moment was this realization that it isn't something that's impossible to do. It is something that all of us can do wherever we are in our lives. And for me, it was the moment, firstly, as I said, I helped myself. But as I began to see just encouraging people, giving them hope, giving them belief, that began to give them this motivation and this encouragement. That was the time I began to think, actually, I have these skills that I never thought I didn't know I had them because I used to be a chartered accountant before. So it wasn't something I was tapping into. But I realized that I have a skill, a gift to work with people. And I want to now actually begin to use this to actually find my purpose. And I have to say, this is now my purpose. It is my passion. It is my ikigai. It is what makes me get out of bed every day. And I never feel that this is a business. I feel this is just a part of me, literally a part of me.
Yeah, it has become part of you.
Yeah.
And you have been building programs, and also you have a coaching practice. Before building your programs and coaching practice, what core philosophy about health and lifestyle were you determined to prove to the world?
Yeah. So for me...
Or what's your secret formula?
So for me, it really is that there is no one thing that can get you to feel better, because there is no one thing that has caused the problems as well. There's many different factors that come in, whether it is stress, whether it is not enough time, whether it is not knowing what to eat. So whether it's, the food or the lifestyle or the mindset, there's many different things that have come from our previous years, decades, that have brought us to where we are right now. So for me, the core principles, the secret formula is we need to have a healthy diet, but it doesn't mean a restrictive diet, a healthy diet. We need to have a balanced lifestyle, and we need to work on creating and growing a positive mindset. Now, we cannot be positive every day, but those three things, if we try and maintain some of that daily, it really does make a difference in our lives.
Yeah, I have come to a realization where I now I'm certain that a balanced perception about life is what keeps us well. I think if people want to be sustained, like people want to be well in a sustainable way, I think having a balanced perception about life, not undermining stuff, it's like not exaggerating stuff. It's like, because we sometimes tend to make meaning of things actually that don't have much meaning. Yeah. So I think we might sometimes be exaggerating life, and also, just not doing that, not being in that emotional, exaggerated state. Looking back, what experiences shaped you, how you understand the discipline, consistency of personal well-being? Because there's a discipline and consistency needed. And also the other question is, how do you help people to stay disciplined and to, stay consistent in their well-being habits?
Yeah. So I think it comes from growing up. So when I grew up, my mom was making most of the foods at home. At that time, most of the snacks, she would make things like, she'd bake the biscuits, and even our traditional Indian food, she would make a lot of these foods herself. So I saw growing up how, for her, she was just bringing it into a way of us living. And she kind of nurtured that from a very young age into the way we were growing up. And also there was religion, but for me it became more spirituality than religion. And then as I began to look at it for myself growing up, it was like discipline, I think, is a very interesting word, because for some people, when they use the word discipline, they will use it in, I don't have enough discipline, so I can't really do it. For me, people will sometimes say, you're very disciplined, you go for a walk every day, but it's no longer discipline, it's a habit, it is a routine, it is who I am.
Yeah, you're inspired to go and walk every day. And, and you don't need outside inspiration, you don't need outside motivation anymore, because you value it.
I value it. So for me, when I look at what I'm doing, I will always think of what is the why in why I got better. I mean, I had digestive issues, hormonal issues, immunity issues. So there were so many different things. And my why was so important for me, that I was not feeling really good, and I was tired, and I'm in my 30s. I had less energy than I do right now. So for me, the why was so important. And when the why is so important, you begin to then think, I have to do this because I want to make it, I want to get better, I want to feel healthier.
Yeah, because it's valuable for me, because it's important for me.
Absolutely. The value was there. And also making it something that is enjoyable. So when I looked at it for myself, it had to be foods that I enjoyed eating, because I love chocolate, but I don't want to give up chocolate. So there is a way of having chocolate without, having the sort of the processed foods. You can have more of the natural, real ingredient foods. And similarly with my clients, to encourage them to be consistent and to make it sustainable, I always will ask them, what are the foods that you are eating for breakfast, for lunch, for dinner? What is your time you wake up in the morning? What are the times you go to sleep? What can we do to make something fit into your life, your culture, your tradition, your working schedule as well, so that you can do it, but that you enjoy it? And if they don't enjoy it, they end up giving up.
It's not sustainable.
So if it's
that's why one fits all doesn't work for any of us. Right now we are working on building a detox and wellness center in Turkey, in the west coast of Turkey, Urla. And it is going to be a small hotel, but mainly focused on wellness and detox. And our members, we already have members we are supporting. And with our members, we do an assessment with 400 questions. Because I fully agree, one thing fits all just doesn't work. And even it's kind of like, I sometimes, from a behavioral scientist point of view, I started thinking, even like your relationship with food when you were younger, like what food means for you and what food meant for you when you were 1 year old, 2 years old, 3 years old, makes a lot of difference in your, for example, eating habits, or what exercise means for you. Maybe you had your best time just lying on the couch and watching TV, and then you think lying down is much better than exercising. Or maybe you had fun, like my husband. He had fun being active because he was playing basketball, he was active. So now, even now, when he's like almost 70 years old now, he likes exercising and movement more than sitting and lying down on the couch, because he had his best experience when he was a little child, or afterwards as a young adult, during exercise. So there are so many components to where we are in our eating habits and exercise habits. I think for a deep behavioral change, like you said, we need deep analysis, and coaching people in that, I think, is brilliant, because people need that coaching and one-to-one interaction. And many people know that, I see it as well in our community, many people know what healthy habits are, but they struggle implementing them because they are not like you. Wellness is not a value yet. What do you believe is the biggest psychological barrier to change? And how do you usually help your clients? How do you coach them into changing their behavior and transforming into a mindset, into a perception where they don't need the discipline and outside motivation, but they truly value their wellness? Like, how does that happen in your company?
Nevsha, you've hit on some key points here, I think, and I really would love to one day visit your wellness center when it is up and running. I actually think one of the biggest barriers is when, well, there's a few different barriers, but one of the barriers is when people say, nothing's ever worked for me. I've tried X, Y, and Z and it didn't work for me. But what they don't realize is that the things they tried were very restrictive and difficult, whether it was counting calories or cutting out grains or not going out to eat. So sometimes people base it on their past experiences and think, oh, it's so difficult and I've tried everything. And at other times, people might say, I know what to do, and but it doesn't work for me. They'll say, I know what to do, but I think, well, do you really know what to do? Because even I don't know what to do. I'm constantly learning, and I have to keep educating myself because we get more and more information and we're learning constantly. So I think the second barrier is when people say, I know what to do, right? Because if you knew what to do, you would be where you need to. You would be where you need to be doing it.
It's obvious that something is missing, either in your perception or ideas, thinking habits, behavioral habits.
And then the third thing is the value, right? Which you've touched on as well, because if it is not important enough, we will not prioritize it. We will say, I am busy, I don't have the time. We put it at the bottom of the list as well. So I think if we then begin to look at each of these and say, well, actually, can you educate yourself? And it's one of the hardest things to do is to try and get people to have this beginner's mindset. And I will say have a beginner's mindset because I need to have a beginner's mindset, because on certain topics I might think, well, I know what to do and I know everything about it. But if I go with that attitude, I haven't taken anything in. So having this beginner's mind, trying the easy things is really important. Don't count calories. It's so difficult to count calories and to go hungry, because if you are counting calories, going hungry, doing these really restrictive fasts that leave you feeling miserable, you do not sleep well at night, you're in a bad mood, you're not productive at work, you're not happy with your family.
You're not happy, period.
Yeah, and you're on a downward
You're
spiral.
not happy.
So actually, can you begin to make it something that is more sustainable, and making it something that comes to your culture, your tradition is very important, because, there will be some of your listeners who maybe, are celebrating Ramadan, and some people will be doing Christmas, and some people will kind of cultures, but make it fit into your way of living in your own home. And have this beginner's mindset. Don't base it on past experiences, because we have so many years we need to live. Even if I work with women who are in their 60s, and I love to work with women in their 60s, because when they come to me, I know they are ready to change. They do not want to have, like bad health in their 60s and their 70s and their 80s. And I love their enthusiasm and their desire to change.
Yeah. And I usually say people, like in our detox and wellness center, that's how we're planning the whole education on wellness, and also all the menus and stuff. Even if it's for a week, suffering under the name of detox, for example, isn't a good idea. Because it's a shock for the body. When we suffer, our bodies are suffering. It's a shock for the heart. It's not healthy at all. So I see all around the world people going to detox and wellness centers, or doing detox for a week or 10 days and truly suffering, hating it, and then going back to their routine and gaining the weight they lost, and also going back to their unhealthy eating habits. That's not the way. It's like, those up and downs. I think that's why balance, I think, is the magic word for wellness. And I fully agree. And over the years of coaching, what patterns have you seen in people who successfully transform their health?
The patterns I see are those who have realized that being stuck is harder than making the change, because they realize, maybe like I coach people who could be moms who are stay-at-home moms. I can coach people who are business women, and they have careers, whether they're in finance or in legal, or so the successful ones, whether you are a stay-at-home mom or whether you are working, are the ones who realize, I don't want my life to be like this anymore. I don't want to be worried about what comes with diabetes, because do I have to worry about my eyesight or my nerves or my kidneys? So the successful ones are the ones who say, I'm ready, I will begin to make a change, and can you teach me, can you guide me? And they're also the ones who will say, I'm finding it difficult. This doesn't work for me. I can't do this. And then it needs to be adapted.
I'm not able to do it on my own.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, I'm not able to do it. But also, can you modify it for me? Because maybe because of knee issues or back issues, they've got pain. Some of them have so much pain in their... So modifying it and saying, well, if you can't walk...
Then you can do these exercises.
Yeah, you can sit and do certain exercises as well, sitting as well. So the ones who are successful are the ones who say, I actually don't want my life to be like it is right now. Help me to cross this bridge, and when I get there, I will feel better. And the interesting thing is they might come to me and say, I want to lose 5 kilos and I don't want to be diabetic anymore. And fine, we've done that. And then they come, and then they've reversed, one of my clients was a lovely lady who reversed her diabetes. She lost weight, a lot of weight. She reversed her diabetes, came off the medication. And then her goals changed. She said, I now need to do a 10-kilometer race. I need to lose more weight. I want success is also realizing that end point will keep moving.
There are no end points.
There is no end point. You keep improving yourself. And we are all work in progress as well. So I love seeing them, because when I see what they're doing, in a way, I'm guiding them, but they are my inspiration as well, and it encourages me to keep learning as well.
Yeah, wellness is a work in progress. I love it.
Yeah.
It's not because sometimes people tend to think you do one thing and you're well and you're done. No, it's an ongoing journey. It's a life.
It's a life, and also
you stay well. And you don't only get well, you stay well. Yeah.
Yeah, but food is a big part. Our sleep is very important. They're ready to understand that sleep is important, movement is important, but mindset is this big piece that is missing, and they're ready to work on their mind. And that, I think, is the missing piece. In most places, you do a lot of work where you are encouraging and motivating, and you're working on the mind. So you understand how important it is to work firstly on the mind.
Yes.
Because the habit will not change unless you work on the mind.
Yeah, for a behavioral habit to change, the thinking pattern needs to be changed. Unless they truly value wellness more than other things, it's going to be tough. So I think that's the point. Turning wellness knowledge into a scalable business is very challenging. I find it very challenging because I started my business 25 years ago, and the first couple of years were tough. What was the hardest part of building your practice and your company and your community?
I think personally for me, when I started, I was trying to focus on one area, which was just the nutrition. And I soon began to realize with the people I was working with, they were coming to me saying they want to lose weight and they're wanting to learn how to eat better. But then as I began to work with them, realizing actually food is just one part. The emotional eating is a very different part of it. And then comes the movement, and then also understanding sort of how sleep is coming into it as well. So for me, it was actually in the beginning thinking, okay, this is what I'm going to be doing. But as I began working with my clients, understanding there's so many of these other factors that come in, and can I now begin to learn, educate myself, and then be able to provide a program that is going to give them what they need. So I think for me it was getting my program, my knowledge, my platform, even my online platform, ready and there. And then it is the challenging part now, as I'm growing my business, is reaching the right people. And I will find that people get in touch, but often they will say, I can do it by myself. And explaining to them that if you could do it by yourself, you
would have done it.
You would have done it, right? And what are you waiting for? Like, why are you waiting?
Yeah, the click. It's just even coaches need coaches.
Yeah,
so in every area of life, I usually tell that to my students as well, because I'm a teacher and I have coaches in my team. So I'm more the teacher and the mentor side because I don't have time for all. But I have coaches in my team because I'm aware of the fact that people do need that one-to-one coaching, because whenever we are stuck, there is something we don't see. And it's kind of like the thing that we don't see is kind of like sitting at the back of our heads. It's like we don't even see that we don't even see. There is something we don't know that we don't know. So only the coaching practice, and that's why I think coaching is such a sacred practice. It's just brilliant in how it transforms people's lives, and in all areas, not only in wellness but also business. And and I mentor and sometimes coach the entrepreneurs we have invested in and also work with, and I see the transformation in them as well. It's like with powerful questions, and what you say is also true. If you could have done it by yourself, you would have done it by yourself.
And what is it that you're waiting for? I am not in the weight loss industry. I'm in the well-being and wellness industry. For me, I see a huge difference between weight loss coaching and coaching. So for me, even my program is...
One is holistic, the other one is focused on one thing.
On one thing. And I often will ask questions. What are you waiting for? Like if you've already been told you're pre-diabetic, are you waiting to be told you're now diabetic? And then are you waiting to be told, have issues with your kidneys or with your eyesight, or you might be at risk of amputation? So what are you waiting for? And I try now get people to just begin to think of these things and begin to want to make the change and say, well, actually, I take charge now before these issues are going to come. And to step away from these excuses we give to ourselves, like, yes, we're all going to go through menopause. And for some women, I understand menopause, it can be more challenging with all the different symptoms. But if you don't do anything, it becomes harder. If you begin to learn how to look up, it will be easier. So don't hide behind, it's menopause, or it's my age, or it's, lack of time. Do what you can now, and whatever you're struggling with, if you take charge now, that one little change you make will make a difference.
And I also think understanding that wellness is sitting exactly like right in the center of our lives. I think that's kind of like the biggest transformation in the thinking habits of people, because people think wellness is just one area of life. And then I can go and, build a business and, wealth building, business building, relationships, and wellness is just one area, but wealth is actually sitting in the center of these. If you're not well, your relationships won't go well. If you're not well, because if you're not physically well, you're not going to be emotionally well. If you're not emotionally well, you're not going to be physically well. It's holistic, but it's like if you're not well, you're not going to be able to manage your relationships. If you're not well, you're not going to be able to manage your businesses. Like as an investor myself, I would never ever invest in a business owner who's not well, because I know things are going to go wrong, because they're not going to be able to think straight, and they're going to make many mistakes. Wealth, you're going to lose money, and you're going to not be able to manage your business. So anyone watching us right now, I think it's very important to understand whether your value is business or wealth building or your company, because there are a lot of entrepreneurs and investors and VCs listening to LPs, listening to my podcasts and watching our videos. You can value other things, but wellness is sitting at the core. Well-being is sitting at the core of your life, your family relationships. I think that's kind of like the tipping point when people understand that, and maybe women at the age 60 get that. It's like, if I'm not healthy, I'm not going to have healthy relationship with my children,
or grandchildren.
If I'm not healthy, or grandchildren. So what role has digital education, online programs, and social media play in growing your platform or other well-being platforms?
So for me, I'll talk about the digital platform. So I have a program which is online. Anybody can join at any point of the day. It's fully automated, and there is an online community that goes with it, which means that it's accessible, and it also means that it's very affordable. And I love the fact with digital programs, you can make things a lot more affordable and accessible, because for some people, the truth is it costs too much to get one-to-one coaching, and they can't do that. So having this, it is at their time, they can, log in, they can do a meditation practice, they can get a cooking class recipe, they can watch a cooking class and get some recipes from that. They can educate themselves on different topics. So I think having an online platform is beneficial. Like it has really made a huge difference for what I'm doing. And for me, social media is a way of connecting with people. It is where they can see what I'm doing, whether it's me sharing a recipe. I love doing fun things also on social media. They'll see who I am. It might be, asking, what shall I wear today? Because for us as women, we often think, what shall I wear today? So they can see this is who I am. They begin to see the type of work that I'm doing. And from there, from knowing me, maybe they'll then begin to like me. They then begin to also trust me. They begin to see testimonials of clients that I've worked with. They begin to see what these other women have been eating. And that then begins for them a way of just saying, well, actually, let me start by following her. And at some point, they may join one of my master classes and then join my program as well.
Lovely.
Yeah.
Lovely. How do you maintain authenticity and trust while operating in an industry often filled with conflicting information?
Yeah, I try and stay true to myself. That has to be the main thing. I have to stay true to myself. I don't pretend to be somebody who I'm not. With that, if somebody contacts me and say, how long will for me to do, I will say it could take you 1 month. It could take you 3 months, but I've seen people do it in 6 months or a year, because it'll come down to, how much can you do, but also your health conditions as well. Maybe you're not able to do as much. So it's being very honest to them and not giving any false promises to them. It's also showing them that I will go on holiday and I will have, whether it's a glass of wine or I'm going to have, some ice cream. It's normal.
Okay.
Yeah. It is normal. So it isn't saying you have to follow this and it's very strict. It is just showing to them, this is what I am doing myself, but it's also what I'm guiding is let's follow this 80-20, where we try 80% of the time to have balance and to live a healthy life. But then 20%, have your treats.
Fun.
Yeah.
In a balanced way.
Yeah.
Because if we don't have that, then that's the... Then you go back to your
old ways,
eating habits. And what belief about health, dieting, or fitness have you personally outgrown in this journey?
Yeah. So I think given that, similar ages, when I was younger, there was a big emphasis on, women being thin and skinny, and there was a lot on counting calories or eating certain foods which didn't look very appealing. So it's gone from those patterns of thinking on a way a woman should look or fit into this mold, to actually now, as we're going through, some of your listeners, viewers will be perimenopause, but some will be postmenopause as well. But it's now realizing, we've got to be supporting our hormones, and we've got to be supporting our gut health as well, and be supporting our mental health as well, wanting to be fitter, to be stronger, to age gracefully as well.
I think as we age, women, we tend to, I think, just break free from all the social conditioning and we start looking after ourselves and loving ourselves more. Yeah. Maybe after 40 or after 45, things change. And I watched it's funny you said that, like when we're younger, the whole, looking good and thin, and I watched a theater a couple of months ago, and they were joking about, how women are conditioned in being thin and all that. And there was a point where the grandmother, they were talking about marriage and the wife. So the theater is Trophy Wife. I don't know if people watched it, but it's just hilarious. It's so funny. And the wife says, "My husband doesn't love me anymore." And the grandma says, "Why? Have you gained weight?" This is so hilarious. Why have you gained? It was like so. That's how she's acting. She's like the older generation, and automatically, why did you lose? Did you gain weight? That's hilarious. Yeah, I think we're moving. We're the new generation. I see that happening in my children and also in the younger generation. I think it's changing because it's more about health and I think uh, uh, socially we are right now more conditioned on wellness, and being well is getting more important than being thin and being fit. And it's just if you lose your health to be
You lose
thin,
everything.
when you step away from coaching and business, what practices keep you personally balanced and energized?
For me, it's the daily. There's many things, but I love walking. I feel that is my quiet time. That is my time to sometimes just observe and be with nature, whatever the season. Right now, the blossoms are out, but even in winter, it is noticing the beauty in just the silhouette of a tree without the leaves, and noticing the nests are there and how many nests are there. So for walking for me is one of the key things. But along with walking, it will be meditation. I do love to make time for daily visualization. I really believe in that, because if we see ourselves in a better place, not I will be there, but I am there. I do a lot of practice daily on
affirmation.
I also eating healthy. If I've not eaten a balanced meal, I feel it. I will feel bloated. I will feel uncomfortable. I will feel hungry. I'll be constantly, looking for something to eat. So I think the body now will remind me, you have not been for your walk, or you haven't done, your visualization, or maybe sleep is not good. I'm trying to keep this balance for me because it keeps me in a good place mentally.
And now, what does well-being mean to you beyond the whole wellness, weight loss, and physical appearance? Like, what does true well-being mean?
It means being in a happy state, being in a healthy state, feeling that I guess from inside out, feeling good, not just looking good from the outside. Because even in my younger age, when I was sick, from the outside, nobody would have known, that from the outside, everything is looking fine. But from the inside, I was not feeling very good. But for me now, it is truly feeling good from inside out, whether it's balance, energy, feeling of calmness. It's bringing all these things and feeling that. And when life gets a little, out of balancing, I have to come back to it.
And it's very much felt.
Yeah.
We were together in a meeting, and there were other women, and I think centeredness is something that's felt. Like when I first met you, I felt that presence in centeredness and that calm energy, and that's, I think, what true wellness is. And you are someone who walks her talk, and that's beautiful. You did find that balanced state and well-being state, so now you share it. It's beautiful.
And thank you so much for having me, because I think I attended your book launch, and it was very nice to meet you, to see how you're inspiring. I mean, to be in the room with you is very different to maybe watching you on video, but you give so much encouragement, and it's coming from your heart. It is truly coming from your heart, which is nice to see that as well.
Thank you.
And it's nice to be, there was a connection. I feel like you're doing it because you see it's your purpose in life. It is what you're passionate about.
I'm serving. I'm at service for human, however I can. We both are, I guess. What lesson about human behavior has surprised you the most in the past years of coaching?
The lesson of let me get up and get back. That has surprised me, because for a time I think it's what we see and what we are open to. So at times we can get used to things are not very good and nothing's going to work and it's going to be difficult. But I love this lesson where I can think of a few clients right now who are going through a few challenges, but they will not give up on themselves. They will keep coming back and saying, this is where I am. Okay, I have tried this, but I'm still not feeling good. Can I do? And they keep getting back on their feet.
Yeah, it's like every day is a new day.
Yeah, And
let's try again, and
yeah.
then try again, and
Yeah.
again,
Yeah.
and that's I think the work in progress, right?
Yeah. And I think for me that is just so beautiful to see, because they won't say I'm, like 70 years old and it's going to be like this. It's okay. What can I do right now?
Yeah.
And I will do it.
Yeah, beautiful,
Yeah.
beautiful. What are you currently refining in your own health philosophy right now? Did anything change in the past couple of years in your philosophy for yourself?
For me, it's more on the mindset now. I love to read books. I would love to attend lectures. Anything to do with human behavior is something that I leaning towards more. Meditation, mindfulness. I think it is meditation, mindfulness, and human behavior kind of, for me, they go together, because there is an overlap between these two areas. So for me, this is the area that I am leaning towards, because as you begin to learn, I begin to learn more about why we behave a certain way. And is it fears? Is it worries? Is it positive beliefs and hopes? It then is a way that I can then now begin to work and guide my clients too as well.
Yeah, lovely. I agree. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Thank you
very much, Sujata. And I have one more question, a final question, which I usually ask to all of our guests. What would be one piece of advice to someone who wants to transform their health but feels stuck right now?
If you're feeling stuck, if you have been trying for some time, do make just one change. Make one change.
Start with one change.
Yeah. And do that one thing every day for maybe a few weeks or a few months, and don't stop. And if it's going out for a walk, but you can't walk for, even half an hour, can you get out and walk for 5 minutes? But start with that one thing. And however busy your day is and however challenging you think it is, do a short walk. If you can't walk, just leave the house, go outside and look at the sky. But start with that, and then as you can, build it and build it. Or just do that one thing consistently.
Keep on trying. Yeah. Thank you. It was lovely.
Thank you so much, Navsha.
Having you. The time passed, an hour just passed like this. And
thank you.
And thanks to anyone who is listening to us and watching us on YouTube. If you like our videos, please click on like and also become a member on our YouTube channel and also Spotify account. I will see you in the next episode.